Hello everybody, it's Aaron. Welcome to another episode of Feed the Beast. We're still in Direwolf20 on the Primus server, of course. I don't know why I like to start out the episode flying above things, but I've noticed a trend with that lately. So I've been thinking a lot about power generation, and I really don't want to do big reactors. I fear that we may have to at some point. So let me know what your thoughts are. I've been playing with some other power generation methods. There's a Botania one, it's pretty cool. There's a block called the mana flux field, which is right here. If you shoot mana from a mana spreader, it'll convert it into RF. So I did a lot of testing in my little test world, and I couldn't get it to work without making a ton of flowers. I mean, it takes so many. So these guys are the endo flames. They eat coal, charcoal, wood, whatever solid fuel. As you can see, we're actually gaining energy. And this thing is not configured, apparently. So I made Monkey Puzzle a lumber axe that is unbreaking with fortune and auto smelt on it, so that when you chop down a tree, or if you put it in an autonomous activator, you get charcoal automatically. You don't have to cook it. So I made a mechanism to drop it on some of these guys, but it took so many flowers, it took so much room that I don't think it's really... I mean, it's pretty neat, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's really great for the kind of power we need for all the different machines from all the different mods. Still, this is pretty neat. If we were magic only, it would be awesome. But let me know your thoughts on the big reactor thing, because I'm really torn. I don't want to use it, but at the same time, it's kind of one of those things, you know, you just need the power. Also, I failed to mention this in the last episode. I ended up using the painted glowstone for lighting. So you don't see any lights in here. I put them in the floor, and there are no spawnable blocks anywhere in the base. So I got a lot of suggestions. I want to thank everybody for their suggestions. I saw Millie's comment about the painted glowstone before I saw any of the others. But thanks everybody. We ran out of apples at some point. I made the bedrockium drum. We now have 11,500 buckets of biomass. And as soon as I put that drum there, I just went through all the apples so fast. So I threw a reservoir down here because you can use water in place of fruit juice. You just don't get as much biomass per operation when you use water. And I still have a bunch of mulch in here. I can't see how much without clicking on it with the little tool. But you can also use the fertilizer like we're using in the tree farm. You can use that in the fermenter as well. But we still got over 6,000 mulch, so it shouldn't be a problem. So I got a couple barrels of oil, and I figured we would set up a refinery and some, I think they're combustion dynamos. Maybe compression, one of the two. It's compression dynamos. I tested these with, they wouldn't work with biomass. They worked with MFR biofuel. They worked with oil. They worked with ethanol. And they worked with refined fuel. They all give the same amount of RF, but the refined fuel lasted like 4 times longer than the oil. Maybe more than that. And it lasted at least twice as long as the biofuel and the ethanol. So I'm thinking if we need to supplement our power, what we can do is, I mean, we could probably add some more biogas engines, but I cleared out an area thinking, hey, we'll make some fuel, we'll make some compression dynamos, we'll put the augments in them, we'll put 2 of these so we get better fuel efficiency, and then like 1 of these so we get 160 RF per dynamo. But that's not what we're going to do. We need to get some stuff processing. And I had these set up. I don't remember if I showed you in the last episode. I ran the Ender Quarry in the Nether, and I opted for Silk Touch as opposed to Fortune. I did make the Fortune 3 add-on. I used the Silk Touch because it only uses 1.5 times more power, and the Fortune 3 is 80 times more power. So I wanted to kind of be power conscious. If we take a look at the Nether Quartz, you can sag mill this. You get 4 per ore if you sag mill it, and there's a chance of Certus dust. Now I only ended up with about a stack of this, but I figured that was better than just using Fortune. So what I want to do today, I figure we can go ahead and put some machines. I've made 8 alloy smelters and 8 sag mills. So I figure what we can do is we'll just put these guys like this. We're going to have to run some power over here. And what I'm going to do is I'll leave 1 of these open for manual things, and the other 7 will be for the auto processing all the ores. At some point I may put interfaces on the back and use this thing, like if we need quartz dust, it'll go make it for us automatically. So I haven't practiced this ahead of time. The reason I did it like this, we've got to have a place for the conduits to go, and I figured that I would just run the conduits in between the machines, the power and the item conduits. So we'll just pop all these on here, and we'll do it with channels, I think. And I actually, since I'm not going to need the top row, I may get rid of these 2 and re-chisel them so that we have 2 block spaces at the top, just like we do on the other side. And which one is that? That is just a marble block. I think it's this one. Probably. Yeah, okay. So I'll have to put conduit facades right here, and I'll probably make it match the dented marble. Let's actually see what that's going to look like. It won't be connected textures. We'll have to see what it looks like. We'll have to paint a facade if we have time at the end of the episode and see what it actually looks like. So how we're going to do this, I quarried out that chunk. I need to quarry out the other 3. So we'll run that like this, and we will run the conduit behind here. I haven't decided if we're going to run the power underneath the floor or what. That's probably what we'll end up doing. So we're going to need to make each of these in, out, or we could just disable it. I always do that. Let me try this. Nope. That really didn't work out. Work out for me. Okay, we'll just scroll it to the left. We'll do all that in a minute. Let's figure out what we're going to do about our power. I should have some more conduits in here. And, whoa, sorry about that. I threw some capacitor banks here because I I didn't have quite enough of this conduit. So I figured I would just use a capacitor bank as like a middleman, since these conduits don't connect. And we really only need one there because these things really don't use a lot of power. And whenever I set up my crystal growth accelerators, which I haven't even thought about yet, I'll probably put one of these and a lever so I can turn them on and off as I need to. So that is going to these guys. It's also going to the ME right now, but at some point it will go underneath the floor here. So we won't have any power over there. And I'm going to have to make some more of this, I think. So let's go ahead and move some of this gravel out of the way. And we'll get rid of that as well. I might as well go ahead and make a hole big enough for me to fit through. Alright, and what we'll do is we'll just run this up the back. And then in between all the machines where that other conduit is, to try to save a little bit. No, this is not going to be enough. I should have just put a tesseract over here. One more bunch ought to do it. I'm going to have to make some more energetic alloy after this is all done. Okay, so everything should be getting power. I'm going to make capacitors for these, but I'm not really worried about it at the moment. So how I want to get the ores over here, I want to put an ender chest. I have a default. We're going to put the default. We'll just put it right here. And then I want to make another one, actually another set of a different color, and just export all the ores to that ender chest. If you've been watching me for a while, this is the same thing that I did in the beginning of the crack pack. It's pretty easy. And I should have all the stuff for this. Alright, now let's do... We'll need 2 yellows, and I don't know if I have any oranges. Probably not. Let's come over here. One of these chests has some Botania stuff in it. I'm not quite ready to dump everything into AE yet. So this is what we need. So we'll just turn this into dust. And we got plenty of it. Okay. So we'll come back here. It really doesn't matter where we put this export bus. We have 1, 2, 3, 7 devices right now. So we can just put this other ender chest right here. And we're going to make it yellow, orange, orange. Orange for ores, right? And we will also put it right here. Yellow, orange, orange. This one is going to be the default ender chest where we put everything and it goes back into the ME system. So what will happen is we will put an export bus. I guess we might as well just go ahead and do it. I happen to have the one that I was using before. We're going to use one acceleration card. It doesn't need to be super fast, but I would like it to move more than 1 ore per second. So we'll do this, and apparently I keep getting achievements today. We'll use 2 capacity cards, which will unlock all 9 of these. And we'll use 1 acceleration card. And I had made a bunch of smart cable in anticipation of this, and it turns out I'm probably not even going to need it right now. I think that's my other, yeah, that's my quarry ender chest. So we're going to need to process iron, lead, silver, tin, gold, copper, at the very least. We'll do yellowite if we need to. I'll just leave the rest of them open. Alright, so actually, I just want to do it like that. So we've got 3 open spots. We'll just dump this back into the system. It should get exported into this ender chest. If we take out this acceleration card, see how slow it is? It's only slightly faster with it, but... Okay, so how we're going to do this part is, if I can fly, this is the chest with our ores in it. We're gonna extract on channel brown, and these are all going to be in out. And I'm just going to let the conduit decide which it wants to put it in, whichever machine has room. This might be a little overkill, but whatever. Okay, so we're extracting out of that one. Actually, let's make it, we'll just leave it brown, it's okay. So we're going to insert on brown in all of these. And nothing should go yet since we haven't turned that on. All right, we're inserting on brown, and then let's export on red. Okay, these are all set to extract on red. So we're going to make these insert on red. And we'll make these extract on blue. Okay, so here's the workflow. I need to make this channel blue. So everything will come out of here on brown, and the brown inserts are the sag mills. They get exported on red from here. The red inserts are on the furnaces, the alloy smelters, whatever. And then these extract blue, and they get put in the blue, which is to the ender chest back into the system. So let's do this just to test the thing out. We're going to turn the redstone signal on this one so nothing gets imported. Just so we can make sure everything works right. So what we'll do first is we will turn off the redstone signal. Looks like stuff is already going. It went to this one. We've got iron. And we've got lead over here, silver over here, cobblestone, copper, tin, more cobblestone. There's some iron. So we're not really dedicating a machine to any ore in particular, but they're just going wherever they have room. So, you know, if this one's full of iron, it'll try to go to the next closest one. And if that one's full, it'll go on and so on. So this will, I think this will work pretty okay, actually. And we should have an ender chest full of ingots. Well, and a bunch of other things since the witch spawner is on. So let's turn this back on. So there we go. What I will do is 2 of these, when I'm ready, I will set this export to blue so that it goes straight to the ender chest, and I will turn off the input so that I can do it manually, if that makes sense. Like if I want to make a bunch of copper dust or tin dust, if I turn off the input here, I'll just turn it off altogether. I will make the export blue so that everything that comes out of this sag mill goes to this chest instead of one of the alloy smelters over here. And I still have room to put interfaces on the back of most of these. I can always rerun this power so that we can do more than one if we want. But I think that's a pretty good setup. Let me see if I have any facades somewhere. I know my painter is over here. I don't have any facades in it. Here are some. Let's try this out. I have a feeling that since it doesn't use connected textures when you mix a conduit with the regular block, it'll give it its own little box. So I'll have to play around with that a little bit and see if I like it. I should have gotten 4. Why didn't I get 4? For some reason I thought it was only 3. Alright, so we'll put this right here, and it doesn't connect to that, and the edge of it looks weird. So my choices are make that conduit, make it conduit facades, kind of like I did with this wall over here. I had to make the whole wall out of facades for connected textures. I'll either have to do all of them, or I'll use the facades here. See, if there's not the block next to it, it looks okay. So that's just one of those stylistic things that probably doesn't really matter. But, you know, I want it to look nice. I could do something like that, make it real simple. I kind of like that. I'll make a few more facades and do the other side like the dent and finish that off. So that's going to do it for this episode, guys. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please leave them down below. Give me your thoughts on using a reactor or turbine as well, and we'll figure it out. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.